times have truly changed. I'm a Gen Xer, my parents are baby boomers, and those that came after me are the Millennials and then the Gen Z. The generation gap is evident in the way we try to remember things. Those who belong to the older generation would automatically get a paper, pen, or even a notebook. But the younger generation would take out their cell phone, put it in their note, or even just take a picture. So to find out more, check out our YouTube video entitled How to Understand the Gen Z and the Millennials. I hope that today's episode will help us understand the Gen Z and the Millennials more. That way, we can have a more harmonious relationship with them, be it at home or at the workplace. Let me share with you the 6 different generations that currently exist. First, we have the builders, those who were born before 1945. This year, that means they would be 76 years old or up. Then we have the baby boomers, born between 1945 and 1964. By this year, they would be between 56 to 75 years old. Then we have the Gen X, those born between 1965 and 1981. This year, they will be ages from 40 to 55. Then we have the Gen Y or the Millennials, born between 1981 and 1996. That means they would be around 24 years old to 39 years old. Then we have the Gen Z, born between 1997 and 2012, ages 8 to 23. Last, we have the Alpha, born 2012 onwards, which means they will be below 8 years old. So each generation has its strengths and weaknesses. Each generation has different lifestyle, perspectives, and challenges. The key is understanding and accepting one another, especially in our family system. So to all the parents watching this video, I salute all of you. Raising is not an easy task. Raising kids is not an easy task. And I believe that you are doing the best that you can. The 3 tips that I'm gonna share are the sentiments I've heard from the many teenagers and the young adults I've counseled for the past 29 years. Moreover, they are supported by other family counselors. So my first point will be, give them freedom to be themselves, of course, within certain limits. Don't expect them to think, to talk, and act like you. Allow them to do things their way, as long as they arrive at the outcome or end results agreed upon. For instance, if you and your children agree that you want a grade average of 85 at the end of the SEM, at least 85, okay? Then, no matter how they do it, it's okay. For instance, when you see the young people right now, they're using their cell phone or they're using their laptop or iPad, they use it for their studies. But of course, they would also do Facebook, IG, Instagram, or even listen to Spotify while they're studying. But they belong to a very different generation. Of course, we can set limits regarding screen time because we want them to rest their eyes and we don't want them to get addicted. And we have to model it. So when it's no to gadgets time, then you exercise with them, play board games with them, or even play sports with them, and encourage them to have real friends and not only online friends. When it comes to music, there's also a vast difference. Maybe you think their music's so noisy for you, but when they listen to your music, they would feel bored or they feel sleepy. If you ask me, the 80s music is the best. But if you ask my dad, he would say, oh no, I like the songs of Frank Sinatra or the Beatles. Then my mom would say, no, the Chinese pop songs would be best, like those from Teresa Teng, Feng Feifei, Fei Yiqing. And when you ask the older Christians, they would say, oh, the hymns are the best. But when you ask the younger Christians, they would say, no, we like the songs of Hillsong. So it's very different. And when you go to a church, when the pastor said, please open your Bibles, okay, the older generation would open a physical Bible. But for the younger generation, they just took out their gadget and their Bibles will be here. When it comes to language, there's all a vast difference. The younger generation now prefers to speak in English, even if they're Filipino, Chinese, or they're from a different ethnicity. So you can encourage them to learn the language that you want. Let's say if you're a Chinese, a Korean, you're a Spanish. So you can just encourage and then talk to them in the language that you want them to learn. And of course, we can motivate them by telling them that it's an asset to know many languages and dialects. Second would be give them moral principles to live by. Kimber Liebert, a mom and a teacher, shared what Gen Z like the adults to know. Check out this video. And one of the things that she said is, you can't expect them to act like adults when you raise them like kids. Like treating them like kids even though they're already older. That's why, sad to say, we have the connotation that the younger generation, like the Gen Zs or the Millennials, will be entitled. Of course, not all of them are like that, but that's one term that is being, that's how they're being described. But could it be because parents have spoiled them? So think about that. And sad to say, there will be some parents who would reprimand others instead of reprimanding the one who committed the mistake. Let's say their own kid. Let's say if their kid is their kid bullied somebody in the school. When the parents are cold, they would say, no, it's the other kid's fault. The other kid provoked my child. Or it's the teacher's fault. The reason why they fought, because the teacher was not alert. So instead of nicely teaching their own child what are the right values, so they just let them off the hook. So let's teach and model the younger generation with good moral values. Then we can explain to them that the rules are there or the boundaries are there. It's not to restrain them, but it's because you love them and you want to protect them. Just like how God gave us the Bible and told us what are some of the right things to do and the wrong things to do, it's to protect us. And when it comes to certain issues, discuss it with them. Do not just say, don't do this, or I forbid you to do this, let's say right now. How about dyeing their hair? Right now, a lot of young people would want to dye their hair pink, blue. So if that's my child, I would just say, okay, if the school allows it, or if your company would allow it, then I'm okay. But of course, I'll also have to tell them that if you do it too much, you might damage your hair. But technically, there's nothing right or wrong about it. And if you think about it, the older people also dye their hair, right? We dye our hair brown or black. How about when it comes to body piercing or tattoo? Right now, a lot of people young people want to do that. Then if you're the parent, your child or teenager told you that, and you said, then you can ask them why. Why do they want to have a tattoo? If they said, oh, mommy, because I want to put the tattoo of the name of my girlfriend or boyfriend. Maybe if that's the reason, you have to ask them to think twice. Why? It's because what if things didn't work out and then they broke up? What are you going to do with the name? And we heard from other experiences that they have to take it out, and it's painful. And remember, as of now, tattoo is also prohibited in the Army or the PNP. So to discuss these things with them, okay? Don't just say no or okay. Let them know the pros and cons. How about vices? Because all of these are acceptable now in our society, like smoking, drinking, gambling. So discuss these issues with them. Let them know what's right and what's wrong. And of course, you have to model it. And talk to them openly about the negative consequences of having premarital sex. Why am I saying this? Because right now, sexting is in. In case you don't know what that is sending, let's say, either very seductive or private photos, nude photos, okay, to somebody else. And sometimes they're also victims of people using those photos to blackmail them or to mar their reputation. So we have to talk to them about it. Or right now we have FWB, friends with benefits. Is it really a benefit? Or will there be consequences about it? And when you watch Netflix, there's sex education. And the protagonist there is very young. So these are the things that they're involved with. So that's why we have to talk to them about sex while they're still young, so that we will be able to guide them towards the right path. Teach them how to make the right judgment. And lastly, give them wings to fly. Accept and maximize that their generation is unique and they also have their own positive traits. For instance, for the Gen Z and Millennials, they're very tech savvy. Steve Jobs, when he created the iPod or iPhone, he wanted to have gadgets that even the elderly or the kids can appreciate. So right now, we're very thankful for the tech-savvy kids or grandkids who are helping their grandma or granddad set up the Zoom meetings for our Makati Gospel Church's Evergreen or Women's Fellowship. And the young people right now are very entrepreneurial. So don't discourage them by saying, oh, it can't be done during our generation, oh, it won't succeed. Let them take the risk, of course, calculated risk, and let them learn. And probably you might have to accept if they don't want to inherit the family business. In case you have one, please don't force your kids to leave out your frustrated dreams or even legacy. Remember that they have dreams of their own. And you can check out our previous video entitled The Young Hustlers, wherein we featured the Gen Z people and the millennials who started a business during this pandemic. And also, please don't scold them whenever you see them in front of using their gadget or computer. You have to ask, what are they doing? You never know that they're using their phone to sell stuff. Okay, right now there are a lot of online jobs, and because of the pandemic, these are the booming job opportunities. And now I'd like also to share with you the two famous young vloggers and even a gamer who are earning millions of dollars. The first one is Ryan Kaji. He's only 9 and he ranks #1 for the past 2 consecutive years in YouTube as a blogger. He already earned $22 million a year just by reviewing toys online. And believe it or not, he has 27.4 million followers and even a partnership with a major toy corporation in America. The next one we have is a Russian-American young girl, only 6 years old this year, Anastasia. She earns $18 million in 1 year just by making videos with her dad. And she has 107 million subscribers, over 7 channels in different languages. Wow. One more is Dan TDM. He makes YouTube videos streaming himself playing video games. Who would know that playing video games can earn a lot of money? He earns $18.5 million. And he even played E-Boy in Disney's Ralph Breaks the Internet in 2018. So this is a very different generation. There are a lot of jobs right now that are available that we haven't thought about before. And because of globalization, maybe the younger generation, whether the Gen Z or the millennials, they want to study or work abroad. So if, let's say, you have the financial capability and you've already instilled in them the moral values, then we can allow them to go and explore these possibilities. And of course, if they go abroad for their studies or work, we have to be open for interracial marriages. Because right now it's globalization. Even though, of course, we have that notion we want to preserve our culture, and which is also nice, but think about it. That is our preference. You can share your preference to your kids while they are still young. Tell them why you prefer them to marry, let's say, whatever race, because maybe you can't speak other languages or something like that. But be open that nowadays people might go for interracial marriages. Let's say when I asked my brother Jerry and my sister-in-law Ors, I asked them about it. Are they open? They said yes. As long as JJ or OJ's future partner will be God-fearing, any race is okay. And if you ask me, that's also my stand. And what about children who are already of the marriageable age, but they're still single? Then you just let them enjoy their life, let them choose wisely, because it's better to be single and happy than to get married to the wrong person and be miserable for the rest of your life, right? And what about if they don't want to have kids or many kids? My friends, it's their choice, it's their lives. So just let them be. So give them wings to fly. We lived our own lives, let them live theirs. So for us to be able to understand the Gen Z and the Millennials, let's give them the freedom to be themselves, give them moral principles to live by, and give them wings to fly. And do comment below what you think are the strengths of the Gen Z and the Millennials. And we are now making shorts or 1-minute video or around 26-second videos for IG, TikTok, or for FB stories. So you can also check that out. These are usually either the teasers, the introduction of our video, or the summary. And I'd like to give special thanks to Jason Ko, Johan Ngo, Georgie Wong, Regina DCB, Ricardo Tan Jr., Rufina Lee, Shirley Tu, Sim Tan, Susan Wee, and Valerie Lee. So see you all next Friday for our Christmas special vlog.